I found out that Zapier has a hidden trial kind of deal going on. So my trial ran out, and to continue to power my LED screen, they wanted to charge me $20 a month, which is okay, and more power to them. But I am not willing to pay that kind of cost for something as menial as an LED screen. So I decided that I'm gonna re-architect this with Lambda. As an engineer, you should never have emotional attachment to code. What matters is to solve problems and to do nice things. It doesn't matter how you do it. It matters to deliver something. With Lambda, you can achieve something very similar to what we had on Zapier, which just takes a little bit more elbow grease. Number one, you need API tokens to integrate with the Tumblr API, so we're gonna have to register that manually. Number two, we're gonna need to set up a trigger mechanism, so every day at 8 a.m., the instructions to generate a new post with a day tally run. So it has to run on a cron kind of deal, right? Fortunately, AWS provides this with AWS CloudWatch events. And three, we need a way to set up JavaScript code so it runs, so it calculates the diff, and it makes the appropriate HTTP calls to the Tumblr API. So let me show you what I did about this. It's actually pretty simple. Alright, so this is how it currently looks. Now, I'm going to, number one, to integrate with the Tumblr API, you need to go to tumblr.com/oath/apps. You need to register a new app. So a Tumblr app is an identity that Tumblr recognizes as, okay, so this has permissions to access me through APIs. If you have some kind of application, some other platform, some other website that you want people to log into with Tumblr, you will need to do this for your site. That's not exactly what we want to do with this, but we have to register an application so we get API tokens. So you will notice that there's an option here to register application. You can just enter whatever you want here. You will notice that there's option for a default callback URL and an auth redirect URL. You will need to be concerned with this if you were actually making a serious integration with another portal for authentication, but fortunately we don't need to worry about that for now for this. So just pop it out of that and click register. Once you click register, you will notice something like this. You will see an auth consumer key. Please take note of this. Of course, as I did before, I'm gonna have to edit this out of the video because you cannot see this. You will notice an option here that says show secret key. So please also take note of the secret key. To authenticate using code to the Tumblr API, you actually need 4 tokens. You need the auth key, the secret, and you need 2 other tokens. A very simple way to do this is to click Explore API here. If you haven't done the auth handshake, you will be prompted to do so, and then you can just click Show Keys here. So you will get an API token and a token secret, right? So take note of all of these 4. These 4 will be fed to the Tumblr JavaScript library. So take a look at the code here. This is my code. AWS Lambda is compute on demand. You can run compute tasks without having to run a VPS or without having to maintain actual compute infrastructure. A very basic explanation of what happens is that AWS Lambda takes your code, spins up a container somewhere, runs your code, obtains a result, or it does whatever it needs to do, and then kills the container. That's it. Effectively, you only pay for the compute power that you use, which is a lot cheaper than actually maintaining a VPS. One of the main reasons of this is, again, that Zapier wanted to charge me $20 a month. I could do that, but using AWS Lambda, I'm just gonna pay pennies for this. AWS Lambda can be run on a schedule. You can create a function. You enter a function name. I'm gonna run it on Node.js, but you can use any language you want. There's a bunch of languages that are supported. And architecture x86. You don't need to worry about the default roles or advanced settings. Just click create function. So once you click create function, you can specify your code. Your code lives here. You can actually upload code to AWS Lambda with a zip file, or you can code directly on the editor or on the console. AWS Lambda doesn't have any notion of Ruby gems or NPM or anything like that, so you need to bend your dependencies. This is very simple to achieve actually. So you can use npm install and then the name of the library. So I am using the Tumblr JavaScript library, so it's tumblr.js. So once you do that, this will get installed into a really nice, cozy little node modules file. So then you can just zip everything. Zip-r, name of the zip file, and dot for the current directory. So then this zip file can get uploaded. You can select upload from zip file and just click this, right? You can also, if you're inclined, you can edit your code locally with your index.js and just wrap everything into an async handler for exports.handler. It is a configuration piece in the Lambda configuration options here to select exactly what's the entry point of your Lambda function, but we're not gonna mess with the defaults. Now, what we're gonna do is, so we have a very simple algorithm, very simple to the one that we had in Zapier. We calculate the diff between two dates, and then we calculate the amount of days out of that. And then we authenticate with the Tumblr API using Tumblr.js and using the create client option. This takes the 4 keys that you created a year ago, so please enter them here into an object for credentials. You also, if you're inclined, and you should be inclined, you should select return promises. So, and this is the part where we go Case Emmanuel, no, not Case Emmanuel, Pan and Coek 2012, right? Mario 64 music there. So, JavaScript has a lot of weird quirks about it. But if there's objectively something that's really, really cool, it's the concurrency model. So, on the server, there's the event loop. And one of the ways that you can interact with it is through the use of promises. A promise is an object which represents something that will be calculated at some point, but it's not calculated yet. So it calculates without blocking. Then you set up the promise, and then you run it in the background without worrying, knowing that at some point there will be a usual value. So here what we're gonna do is that we're gonna call create text post. Create text post takes a parameter for the name of the block that you want to create a text post for, a dictionary of options, the body of the post, what format it will have, tags associated with it. I discovered that my display works a little bit better if you select the latest tag only, and if you use the RSS feed only for that tag, and then you pass a handler function. In this case, we don't want to do anything with the data that we receive, so we're just gonna call create text post. So since this is a promise, you can use the await option, or you can use the .then call. So you can do something with the promise. If you call await, this actually will wait until this operation has concluded, and this is a usual value. So then you populate an object, and this is what you return. Now, so there's all of this, and so this is how the block currently looks. All right, 700 days. I set up my blog to only have a single post per page, right? So what I did is this. Calm down. I recommend that you do this too if you want to develop a similar application. So if you browse your Tumblr log, you will see a palette option here. So this is gonna be a front-end editor, and then on the advanced options on the bottom, you can set up the post per page parameter. You should set it to 1, right? Okay, so carry on. So now that we have all of our ducks in a row, we just want to set up a trigger, something that runs on a schedule and that automatically runs all of these API calls for us, so we don't have to. So you can select this option to add trigger, and then when you do this, you can use events, CloudWatch events, event bridge. When you do this, you can create a new rule, name it whatever you want, and then this takes a schedule expression or an event pattern. A schedule expression is a cron expression. the Unix sysadmins in the crowd will be happy to hear that this is just plain old default cron. So you can just do, let me show you the cron that I have on the other condition there. The cron that I got on this one is everyday at 8. This cron 015 asterisk question mark asterisk. It is 15 because it's 3 in the afternoon, which equals to 8 a.m. Pacific time. So CloudWatch events run on UTC, right? So that's why I had to adjust. All right, but carrying on. So this, when this triggers, this will run, and it will run the API calls that we need. You can set up that everything is set correctly by creating a test event, and then you deploy your Lambda function. In this case, I already deployed it, but when you edit your code, you should hit deploy first. So AWS knows that that's the latest version of the Lambda, and then you click test. So we don't actually care about the event, so we don't need to pass any data as the sample event. But when you do this, you will see that this will post. And then if we visit the blog here, right, you will notice that now it's updating with 701 days since. So this will achieve exactly the same result that I got from Zapier, but it is just it requires a little bit more of technical expertise. But again, you can just do this in like, I don't know, like an hour or so. So it is something that I really recommend looking into, right? Alrighty, so I hope that you found this explanation interesting. Please feel free to drop a comment or a line. I'm always listening. And yeah, thanks for hanging around. AWS Lambda is really cool, and I really recommend getting into it because it can provide massive savings in a lot of applications. A lot of backends which have like very sporadic operations can be really optimized by leveraging things like this. So let me know what you think, and we'll be talking around. See you later.